wherever you're watching Don Reese Miracle Stories, you better keep watching because I'm going to be on it pretty darn soon. If you don't, I'm going to go Hercules on you. Okay.
What's up, WTAN, and you're listening to Don Reese with Miracle Stories. I know I have a bunch of miracle stories to tell everyone, so hopefully we'll get a chance to do that. But you're listening to it right now.
Yay! Hi, I'm Dawn Reese with Miracle Stories TV Network. I will bring you inspirational stories that will warm your heart and give you more faith in walking with God. Do you have a miracle story? Call 727-871-7788. You could be next to give your miracle story testimony. And if you want miracles to happen in your life, join us at beaminghope.org in Largo, an amazing church with real miracle stories. And we have Sunday service, Wednesday Bible study, women's fellowship, men's fellowship, and kids flip night. Get right with God and come to beaminghope.org. I'll see you here with miracle stories. Hi, I am Dawn Reese. Welcome to today's edition of Miracle Stories. I'm in the studio. We also have Hollywood Connections and the Concierge Show. And just real quick, I've been on air for over like half my life, 40 years-ish, and here at Tan Talk for I think almost 14 or 15 years. And it's a pleasure to be in our Clearwater Beach studios tonight. And I have a very special guest in studio, and he's going to give you inspirational faith with God. And, you know, listening to your stories last night, it was amazing. Introduce yourself to the world.
Hello, I'm Joe Norwick.
Yes. And where are you from, Joe?
Mainly raised here in Clearwater for 27 years, but Yankee by birth, but I don't claim that.
Well, you said you went to Clearwater High School.
Yeah, graduated in 93.
That's super cool. So he is definitely a native here. And we've got really amazing things to talk about. In the meantime, I have to tell everybody, you heard the commercial for sunkisscharters.com. And it's sunkisscharters.com. Check us out. I have to give that a little intro because Sunkiss Charters is paying for half of the show tonight. Thank you to Captain Bert and Captain Tom. And we have a 37-foot Endeavor sailboat, up to 6 people out in the Gulf of Mexico. You can go out. Oh my gosh. We have a trolling rod on board. It's an amazing experience. We saw a big stingray, I think, jump out of the water one day. Dolphins are chasing us. You can bring your own, liquor. You can bring your own bottle of wine. You can, we have a big cooler with chip soda and water on board, pet friendly. The pontoon boat is a totally different experience, and it is a 28-foot pontoon boat out in the intercoastal. We have, again, chip soda and water, pet friendly, a small restroom, fishing license, fishing poles, and snorkeling and all that good stuff and the water toys that you can have out there. So, Joe, we're going to talk about real quick before we have one of our VIP guests call in, because he's my VIP guest co-hosting with me today. And I just want to find out, what did you think of the Sandbar Charters?
It was wonderful. We had a celebration of life for my dad who passed away. And so we wanted a sunset. And so we went out to the pass there in between Caladesi and Honeymoon Island. Mm-hmm. And we had a toast. Dad's favorite drink was Captain Morgan. Oh. So for the sun, so we walked out on the sandbar, but the hurricane kind of messed up the sandbar a little bit. So only our 7-foot tall friend could really walk the sandbar very well. That's interesting because that is a really good pass over there. We love to swim over there. I mean, you're telling me how high the water was. Yeah, it was, even though it was low tide, the bar was high. So we had to stay a little bit closer to Caladesi, but we had a great time. Great. The captain was phenomenal. I know, Captain Tom, my brother. Does he remind you of the skipper from Gilligan's Island? He does. And the great thing was he just didn't sit in the boat. He got out in the water with us and took photos of us and all that kind of stuff. And so he participated, but yet stayed out of the way, and it was phenomenal to have his assistance. You know, and he knows did he tell you the celebrities on the island as well? Yes. He's very knowledgeable, and they're out on a sailboat cruise right now. So everybody go to sunkisscharters.com. In the meantime, do you have a favorite song that you like that we can play at the half hour? Is there a favorite song that Matt can pull up? On the spot. Let's see, because hip hop probably won't work very well on this station, but it does. You can think about that for a second, and I'll be back. And in the meantime, we have an amazing, great friend that's going to call in. Do we have a caller yet? Not yet. We got to get Norman on the phone. We're so excited. This gentleman is going to join forces with us and with Sunkiss Charters. We have the 2 boats, and I'm waiting for his VIP call to call in and tell about what's happening. Now, we are a 6-pack license with both boats, and so we have a new boat coming in about a month or 2, and it's going to be phenomenal. And this gentleman that's joining forces with Sunkiss Charters is going to talk a little bit about what's going to be happening. So I'm waiting for his
call. I just sent him a text. Now, 8:30, everybody, stay tuned because I have a very special VIP guest on the line with us. And she is Muhammad Ali's ex-wife. And Mama Ali, hopefully she's in Washington, D.C. right now. And she's an amazing woman. And she is going to talk about her new book that's out, her movie that's out. And when I asked her about the Netflix movie, she said, no, I had no say in that with Muhammad Ali. So she wants to come to the station and do a book signing. And then one of the hotels, we might do a lobby co-signing with her. So we're very excited to have her call in as well. In the meantime, I'm trying to get a hold of Norman. Can we just play a little bit of the Miracle Stories real quick? Song intro one more time, and let me call my VIP guest. I love it when I say, you're calling in at this time. It's Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to be back with some inspirational words with Joe here. And I want to say hi to Jill, your mom. She's so beautiful and lovely, and your family out there. And we're here live on 3 FM and 3 AM. And Norman's not calling yet. And we are going to be back in a second. Colin now. He's a very important businessman, and he is always on the phone, and he's very busy. So, Joe, when he calls in, we're going to come back and talk to you about inspirational stories. But before we start, I was really intrigued that you had said that you're going to get an RV park pretty soon.
Well, I'm in the process of planning my business plan for building an RV park out in the outskirts of the Smoky Mountains.
Oh, that's going to be super cool. Oh my gosh, we're going to talk about that and more. So stay tuned. We have the whole hour. Norman is on the phone with us, our very busy VIP man. Norman, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Norman. Welcome to our show. As you have sponsored me before many times, and I want to thank you for that opportunity. And we are on the air right now talking about what is going to be joining forces with us with Sunkist Charters with your boat. And we want to know more about your boat and what we can expect. We're going to be hitting wedding shows and all that good stuff. So give us a little rundown with what you're going to bring to the table with us.
Yes. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yay.
Yeah. So we have a Regal 42-foot charter boat that will be able to probably have about 20 customers. So,
oh, that is great for wedding bridal parties.
Yeah,
I love it. And then also tell us, you said there's a sun deck, there's a cabin below. Can you kind of walk us through the boat?
Yeah. So the cabin has one bedroom and 2 sitting areas. So microwave, TV, everybody will be well taken care of. And then in the cockpit area is an open area where everyone can sit around and have drinks and ice machine, and they can barbecue if they want.
Oh, that's lovely. Would we do an Airbnb with that too? If like a honeymoon couple wants to stay overnight someplace at an island?
Absolutely, we can. And I think we're going to be doing 2 or 3 nights at a time.
Oh, that's going to be lovely. I've seen pictures of the boat, and I know you're getting it tremendously ready for the sea. And when do you think it'll be ready about? Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, we're looking probably in December.
Perfect.
It should be ready.
Perfect. Well, we're excited to have you aboard with Sunkist Charters and lifelong friends here. And thank you so much, Norman, for calling in. We just want to give heads up to everybody. Sunkistcharters.com. We're going to put those pictures up as soon as you send them to me.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye, Norman. Love you. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice big fun.
Yeah. So we have 3 boats because people say, Dawn, I have 10 to 12 to 15 people. We can't because we're a 6-pack license. 6-pack is 6-pack.
Yep.
That's it. So, Joe, we were talking last night and a couple of times about inspirational stories and your faith in God and let's start with how you were born again, and explain to people what born again means and in your story, because a lot of people say, well, I don't go to church, or I go out in the ocean, or I go out to a mountain and I have my time with God. But you have a different story. And that's kind of what this show is about, to give you inspirational stories and motivate you as well.
At the end, and I started out in the Catholic Church, altar boy, Mom and Dad were more of the, at that time, the Easter and Lily crowd, or the Easter and Christmas crowd. But Mom took me to church every morning and then picked me up at 2:00 after catechism and everything. And as life goes on, you end up finding different paths, and did a men's Bible study at a time in my life. I needed a little something extra. And
that's important, because I know, like Beaming Hope Church, there's other churches that have, their men's Bible study. How old were you when you went?
So I was about 28 when I started going. And that was it's somewhere around the 2006, 2009 time frame.
Mm-hmm. Now, you were Catholic?
So at that time, I was just bouncing around, going to Harborside, Countryside Christian. Didn't really have a home. Didn't really feel like, wasn't getting fed at which is a phenomenal church. It was Light of Christ.
Because I was brought up Catholic, so I get it.
Yeah, and so, but there's a lot of routine. I'm not a routine guy. I got to have flavor. I've got to have spontaneity, all that fun stuff. So started going to Harborside and went to the men's Bible study, and then talked about in the book of Hebrews that Christ was the only one to atone for your sins. To me, that was like a smack in the face. It's like, why am I confessing my sins? So to me, it wasn't rational, and I wasn't getting fed. And then just found some good churches, non-denominational churches after that had good praise and worship that a lot of the older folks would come say like, oh, this is a rock show. Well, that's my fuel. And then, of course, the good preaching afterwards.
Right. Well, even I went to a Catholic school, Catholic grade school. I went to Catholic church. And then when I met my husband, we were going to Catholic church over here. And the funny thing was the priest at the time had said, because we were living on the sailboat. Now it's been redone completely. It doesn't even look like the same boat. It was blue and white. It's yellow. It's gorgeous inside. And we gutted everything. We redid everything. But at that time, his message was, it's time to get out of the boat and go forward. My husband said, can we please move off the boat?
Yeah.
The priest said, get off the boat. So anyways, but now we have this amazing charter business. But, so I go to a non-denominational church as well. And, we were just baptized. I have two churches that I just adore. I have to be honest. I have Beaming Hope. That's over there in Largo. And I've got to get back to the women's Bible study over there. Yes, Pastor Joe, you're watching. And so we went out, my husband and I, with Calvary, and we were baptized in the ocean. I want to tell you, that was such a phenomenal experience that the peace, the joy was just all over us. And have you ever been baptized with a church?
Yeah, well, and all about the same time frame. My daughter, who is about 6, we were at churches actually at Harborside, and she would go back to childcare, and then sometimes she wanted to be in adult church, and so we did both. And then she goes, "Mommy and Daddy, why aren't I baptized?" And so we were waiting for her to bring it up. We weren't going to say you need to get baptized; it's a choice. So actually, her and I, because me being raised Catholic, I was Christian, but never water baptized. So my daughter and I actually got baptized on the exact same day.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It was so funny because my husband gets in the ocean and he goes, "Have you ever been baptized before?" And he goes, "Yes, I have." He goes, "By a oh gosh, what did he say? Not by a priest, by a bishop." And he said, "But how old were you?" He goes, "Well, I was a baby." And there is a difference. People say for me it's renewing your faith.
Yes.
And saying, like I have the daily Bible app on my phone, and there's some days, I'm not like, and I'll be honest, Ronnie Howard over there at the Hulk Hogan shop, I just want to thank you. What an amazing preacher, man of God. And he knows Marco Santabane, which has a movie and a book out about his life. That's how I got to know them. And he was talking about how Hulk Hogan gets up in the morning and prays, and he listened to his worship music, and he is so prayed out by the time he walks out that door. And that's inspiration to me, because it's like you go out of this world and you've got to be protected by God, his word of God all over you. And so, I've got my daily Bible, so I'm reading more of that as well and getting my prayer life up to par with everything. You had some really inspirational stories too about faith and trusting God.
Yes. So, quick story about the same time getting baptized in men's Bible study and being renewed. I had general contracting business, and this was in 2009, and it was going south with the economy. I needed $5 for my daughter on a Friday to go have dress down day at Skycrest Christian School.
Mm-hmm.
Negative in all of my accounts. Already cashed in all the change jars.
Who has not been there?
You know,
yeah, exactly.
always been that person though, man of faith, but at the same time, you know, I enjoy a drink and this and that. I'm just human, just like everybody else, but I do have my faith. So I'm going through my truck and I'm in a brand new Expedition at the time, and I can't even string together $5 for my daughter. Hardest thing for her dad, where she would be the only child, you know, not in a jersey or dress down day.
Mm-hmm.
Found a lottery ticket in my truck. Okay. Don't play very often. Took it in. Lord blessed me with $7. $5 for my daughter, and then another $2 for my gas tank so I can pick up a $15,000 check that I've been waiting 90 days for in the construction market. So he always says he'll provide. It's in his time, it's in his bounty, but that's exactly what I needed at that point in time.
It's amazing because when you really are trusting God, I mean, really stepping out on faith, and I see that with my son now, God's really starting to bless him and standing on his faith. And you're talking about that, you know, one day I was at work and it was a break I took in the morning, and I was watching Pastor Joe with Beaming Hope. And all of a sudden God said, "Tithe, did you have you tithe lately?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And I'm lacking on that. And I'll be honest. And so all of a sudden after watching this service, you know, and on my break, I sent my money over on Cash App. Within 20 minutes, I get a phone call that said, "Oh, hey, do you have a charter business? So-and-so from the concierge from another hotel called me up and said, we'd like to go on the pontoon boat." And just at that point, I was just like, thank you, Jesus. You know, and then another one came in. And, you know, it's not even just expecting that. It is giving from out of your heart. And my husband laughs at this. He says, "How come when you tithe, you always win a scratch off or you play Keno at the casino?" And he goes, "That is not what Pastor Joe or the pastors are talking about, Dawn." But, you know, if I go, and that's kind of like my me time, I just want to go and relax. And I play 10-cent Keno or 25-cent Keno or something. But, and my son goes, "Mommy, you have a little problem." I said, "No, I have a free play." And I go with what I want to play with. But, you know, I know, well, look at how Catholic churches have bingo.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah. And where we live, we can't say where we live, but they have bingo like tonight, right now.
Yeah, exactly. They're all in there. All about 8 tables are full, and they're having fun playing bingo.
Exactly. Well, you are so inspirational on what you're telling people and how to, you know, really stand on faith. You were talking about a car accident that you were in and what God did in your life.
Yes. Just here recently, I had a 1-ton dually truck. Week after, I had a heat stroke related illness.
That's not fun.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah,
night sweats, fevers. It is 5 days of just misery. But went to get some fluids on a Friday morning to the hospital, and I was having vision issues. And also woke up that morning and tried to walk through my 40-foot camper, and it felt like I was on 10-foot seas, that everything was rocking back and forth. But later that night, I ended up pretty much falling asleep, blacking out, whatever you want to call it, doing anywhere between 55 and 85, and drove my truck through 75 yards worth of woods and snapped.
Where was that, in this area? Or?
No, this is up in Missouri where I was working, because I 10 months out of the year, I travel for work.
Okay.
And so I was 1.5 miles from the campground, and but the truck ended up getting up onto its one side. When I came to, I was standing in the passenger window, and a 12-inch diameter tree was in the windshield. And I looked at the driver's window, and I'm like, okay, well, the driver's window's down. Well, no, there was no more driver's door that was attached to the truck. And so I look around, I see 2 people drive behind me and keep on driving. So I'm that far back in the woods where they don't even see me. So I look around for a minute, grab my rag, because I was wiping the blood out of my head. I got a good scar from here. It goes all the way to the back. 22 staples, 150 sutures.
Thank God. I know somebody that was in a very bad accident, and he was in rehab for almost 3 years. And I thank God. I mean, you had angels around you. You have a praying mother.
And I had the angels had placed my cell phone and my flashlight. My flashlight was in the driver's door. my gun magazines, my knives, everything else that was in that door, we couldn't find anywhere. And the flashlight was down there. And so I climbed out of the truck, even with a leg that I couldn't stand on, but I didn't know adrenaline at the time. Went up to the street and called 911 and told them what mailbox I was at. And they're like, what road are you on? I was like, I've got no idea. And they're like, where were you at? Where are you going? And it's like, okay, you're on Highway AT. You've got EMS will be there in less than a minute because they're just a mile down the road. And but I had my seatbelt on. But if it wasn't for truly angels, I had my seatbelt on. I saw the A-frame. But if I was in a half-ton truck, I would not be here.
Wow. And we were talking about how protected, because you are a praying man, you go to church, you have a beautiful wife, and you've got a beautiful family. And, I was telling you a little bit of a story last night, and this is what gets me is I see people that hit telephone poles at 5 miles an hour and they're dead on impact. And I just want to throw this in. I was a teenager. I was 18 years old. And I told my mother, I said, I have to go to church this week. It was a Catholic church. And every morning I woke up, I put my little medals on and I went to church. And she goes, why are you going to church? I said, I don't know, Mom. I'm drawn to church. I don't know. I have to go. At the end of the week, I'm going down the same road, the same time to work with my brother in the car in a cute Mustang light blue convertible. And some girls were going this way through a stop sign. They ran and I swerved my car at 65 miles an hour down a country road and swerve around them so I wouldn't hit them. And I hit a telephone pole at 65 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now, within moments before, I had a feeling, and that is the Holy Spirit. If you have a feeling about something, do it. And I rolled up my window and there were barbed wire around the farmhouses, and the paramedics, when they got there, of course, they said, where are the bodies? And we were not hurt. We had no back injuries, but it felt like somebody just lifted it quietly down after hitting the pole and wrapping the car around it, that we just felt so peaceful. My brother was afraid to look at me. He's in heaven now. He passed away last year, but he looked at me and he's like, I thought your face was ripped off because the whole top of the car was ripped off. And the only thing we said was, Mom's going to kill us, because it was her cute convertible blue Mustang, 1967 or something like that. It was adorable. And that car was on display for a week saying miracle story. And from that going on, that was one of many miracle stories. My father was healed of Hodgkin's disease when I was younger, and he was in a hospital and a ball of light hit him in the shoulder and he was healed. And he told God, he made a pact. He says, please let me live as long as I can to see my kids grown and married. And it came to pass. But my mother walked and said, you're not going to die on me with 3 kids, 4 kids now.
No, and I can understand that, because when we went to the tow truck, and my wife, she was actually out of town at the time of the accident. And when we went to the tow truck place to get the belongings out of it, the lady had said, were you the one that was driving the truck? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, we thought that you were dead.
Wow.
When they saw the truck.
So you said you had stitches in your head, or what happened?
Yeah, I had 22 staples and 150 sutures. So it was from the crown, from the hairline all the way back to the back. Wow. And then I had bunch of staples in my elbow, some staples in my knee. That
is like the worst call in the afternoon or the middle of the night from a mother's point of view. When my son passed away, getting that call in the middle of the night 2 years ago during the hurricane that your son passed away at 34. And that's why I started Miracle Stories, because people died and went to heaven and the other place. And they would tell me about, what they saw. And that healed me so much of knowing, hey, he's good. He's good. He showed up in my dreams and he's good to go, and it's so short on this life. And that's where I think God is telling me, he said, you've had Hollywood connections. You have a lot of celebrities. You have a lot of people, but who are you saving to come to me? Why aren't you doing more for me than Hollywood? And that hit me hard. And that's why the Miracle Story show, if you do have a miracle story or an inspirational story, Jill, if you're watching, I know you're head of the entertainment HOA, and, we should get together, any ladies, and come here and talk about life's journey stories. Maria, if you're watching, because that was your idea too as well, of anything that they would like to talk about and get out to their children around the world, because some people most are in Canada, that live in our area.
And even when you're amongst normal believers, okay, we're most of it all the time.
And your mom's a believer.
My mom's a believer. My wife is, but my wife didn't really go to secular church her whole life. And being newly married, we were, she travels with me for work. And so we're with each other pretty much 24/7. She's my ladder assist. And, it was, I said, honey, because I let her handle all the money. That's what she wanted. And I'm like, not a problem. So I said, okay, we need to tithe. And she goes, well, we don't know how long your contract's going to end and this and that. I was like, I'm sorry. This has been bothering me. We need to get back to tithing, and we need to tithe 10% of my gross paycheck.
Yes, that is so important. And this story is amazing. So hold on, because you really need to hear this story, everybody. Don't turn the channel. Go ahead.
So, earlier in life, I've always just given what I could give because electric was always due or this or that, didn't have any extra. So always struggled with that my whole life. At this point, I work 84 hours a week. I get paid handsomely, but I work and no days off until the end of the contract. So where I says, honey, we need to tithe 10% of the gross. And she goes, that's a lot of money. I was like, I know, but just please. And she goes, okay. But we talked about it, for a good 20 minutes and everything. And she's like, well, we got to save. She's being responsible for the family to save because it may be a month that I'm off work and then back on work on contract. And I was like, no, we just need to do it. And so she goes, okay. Well, we were 2 weeks from being at the end of this one contract in Dallas, Fort Worth on a freeze, doing freeze claims. It wasn't 10 minutes after she sent the money to Life Church in Cookeville that I got a new contract to go to Austin and go do hailstorms. And that was one of our most profitable 2 months that I've worked, was doing the hailstorms in Austin. I had some big houses I was adjusting and getting paid percentage on those. It was a good thing. So just being from one believer to another, by being an influence and saying, no, this is my convictions. This is what we really need to do. It wasn't really what she wanted to do, but the Lord was talking right to her by giving us that next contract, not 10 minutes later.
And you don't know, within that split second, somebody could just say, oh, let's go with Joe's, with his company, and let's just call him now. With that split second, things can change over. And it's so really trusting God on that. And I believe that. That's why I would put a sailboat on my refrigerator back in the days. I was a flight attendant. What you put on your refrigerator, watching it come true. We were just telling that story about HSN. But I put a sailboat on my refrigerator, not knowing I'm making $40,000 a year as a flight attendant, but I'm traveling all over the world. And little and behold, God has a sense of humor. He didn't say a working boat at the time. I ended up meeting my husband. We lived on the boat for almost 2 years and moved to Colorado for a short bit. And now it's a charter business redone all over. But, watch what you put on your refrigerator and ask God specifically what you want.
Yes.
And I even put a bird. I had a canary up in Hollywood, California, and I called it Caribbean. I ended up in the Caribbean with Lake or Bahamas. So watch what you name your pets. And we're going to try to get a hold of Mama Ali here. I know she's in Washington, D.C. out to dinner. And I know Matt is going to help us out with another quick Hollywood something. Just real quick while I give my other guest a call, because it's on Eastern Standard Time. And I so appreciate that, Matt, because he loves Muhammad Ali, loved all the movies. And we'll be right back. Okay, that's what happens when you're a talk show host and you do live. You have to call your guests when they're at a dinner meeting. She's wheeling and dealing out there in Washington, D.C. Before she calls in 1 second, I want to thank Paul Murray. He was the photographer to the stars and major artists. It really gave me the break in this business. And the late James Brown was the one that opened the door with Vonnie Hilton Sweeney. And I did all the pre-Grammy events. I went to college for broadcast and journalism. And that's a quick other story before she calls in. I was a Learjet flight attendant, and this is the faith of God. And I saw this ad. It said broadcast journalism, TV show around and about Orange County News. I went, I learned for almost 4.5 years. That next week I had a call from my boss, and he said, Dawn, your captain crashed in Aspen. Nobody made it. and I would have been on that plane. And when God, but that ad that I saw jumped out at me, and it said, and I broadcasted it, I jumped in my spirit, like whoosh, and I felt it. And that's when I made that decision. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today if I wouldn't have listened to the Holy Spirit and really worked hard on, achieving my goals and dreams. And if you would like to be a guest on my show or have a miracle story or learn about reporting, I have reporters around the world. We have different specials that come on, and we'd love to have you on the air as we have our special VIP guest. We have Dr. Kalia Camacho, Mama Ali, on the phone with us, and she's in Washington, D.C. Probably I'm interfering with her dinner date right now or business meeting. Mama Ali, are you there?
I am here. Thank you, Miss Reese, my queen.
Oh, you're my queen.
Of Clearwater. Thank you so much. I'm so happy decided to just give me a few minutes to speak with you because
Yes.
I of course, I'm always supportive of you and on your show. You're so brilliant and so amazing. I'm about to come out there with my book. It's finally finished. I want to come out there so they can hear the untold story.
That's okay. So tell me, you wrote a book because I was asking you about Muhammad Ali. Tell everybody you were married to him. You had his children. You when I saw your first video, I think on a talk show, I'm like, she looks like Jasmine from Disney.
That's so sweet.
So beautiful.
I was the beginning. I was the one that was married him when he was in exile from boxing and couldn't fight, but we were friends before that. And we had our first, I'm the woman who is the first family.
Right.
And so I was the wife he actually fell in love with. And when he was penniless, but he had so much potential and so much talent. It was so easy for me to jump in and try to help his career and support him the best way I can. Because one, he wanted to be a famous man, and I saw him famous in a different way. I saw him in famous in a broad connection, and where he was basically a great master of his art, boxing.
That's amazing. You're such a motivational person. And now is this like a tell-all book that you have? What is the title of it?
Yeah, it's called Undefeated simply because I was undefeated. I'm a karate martial artist, a 9th degree Dan, and I have never gotten my title taken away from me. I never lost a fight or my title taken away. So that's why I call it Undefeated. I even going through divorce with Muhammad Ali. And the fact that Muhammad Ali is actually carrying my name, and I decided to keep the legacy going. When we was about to divorce, he was writing his book, and by me going, divorce is really not something that is a happy place. When you go through divorce, it's not good.
Right. It's grieving.
It's a lot of.
I remember, I'll be honest with you, I remember at a nail salon and she says, "What's wrong? Did someone pass away?" And I was grieving my divorce at the time. And yeah, it's a tough. Yeah.
Exactly. And so instead of me saying something that I can't unsay, it's best for not me to even participate in any of that. So I just said, I'm not going to participate in this writing of this book. You do whatever you like. And, and I just never told my side of the story between the love between him and I and the things that we went through together. Those things that he wasn't good at saying or delivering. And by us both going through divorce, it's not something we wanted to talk about in the first place. So now this is the first time I was able to tell my terrific journey with my husband and what we had to go through.
Wow.
And it's really deep. And I was behind him wholeheartedly. I'm the one that influenced him in a lot of ways for a lot of things.
I believe that. Where's the book? Is it out for sale right now that people can buy it?
No, yeah, you can go on Amazon, but you have to pick the book that says Undefeated.
Undefeated.
Right now, I'm having a confrontation with the first people I work with, and I called it Forgiveness. But I'm not really supporting that book because it wasn't edited properly. They just threw it out there without my permission. So that's unauthorized.
Gotcha.
But it's still my story. And but my story is the one that's going to tell everything in complete.
Do you want to do I know you have a movie that's coming out as well. Do you want to do a movie on your life as well?
Well, they're working on a documentary about my life, and it's going to take some time for them to finish it. In the meantime, now that I have my book out and complete, I might have to retouch it up because sometimes it doesn't always come out the way you want it. You want to tighten it up, so it might change its look, but the contents will be the same.
Mama Ali, I have somebody that is amazing and can help you with that. Her name is Leslie Graham, and she does this for a living. Helps people write books. What? Does this for a living, helps people write books, helps edit, and helps you with your book.
Oh, no, it's nothing wrong with the book. It's just that I just wanted, it's not something I have to create. It's something that is already in place. I'm just going to do it on the next printing.
Gotcha.
If you have somebody like that, just keep her in mind because that's not the only book I'm going to finish. I got a lot of books to write about women and young girls and to inspire them. And so also I'm a movie actor and a producer. So I've already produced season 6 of The Grid. That's on Amazon Prime right now.
Nice.
And I got my little feet wet doing that one. And so I decided to do a movie called Pure Justice. It's about law enforcement working with the community, which we have a lot of problems with. And that movie is going to show a lot of dramatic scenes about issues that we need to straighten out in the real world.
Wow.
But I'm raising money for that movie. I'm raising money for the trailer first, and then after we shoot the trailer in the winter, we're gonna work on doing the film itself in the fall, in the next year.
Wow!
So that you already know, I have a casting company.
Yes,
and it's called The Greatest Casting Agency at AOL.com, and I'm going to be casting in the spring. So people can go to the Greatest Casting Agency at AOL, send their pictures in and resumes, and you never know. Me being their agent would be a good thing for them because there's a lot of people I need to hire.
Oh, you know everybody in the world. I have Joe with me. He's one of my special guests tonight on the Miracle Stories and Inspiration. Joe, I kind of surprised him that you were going to call in. Joe, do you have a question for Mama Ali?
Mama Ali,
yes.
In all, was he just a phenomenal man like a lot of people say that he is?
Oh, definitely. That's why I love the guy. It's one thing about him, with all the shenanigans and stuff he put me through, the fact that he has a good sense of humor, he loves people, and he's down to earth. And that's what I love about him. That's what attracted me to him.
Well, I've been through a divorce too, and we can love to hate people, but it's their initial character that we're all drawn to.
Right.
Yeah, and you know what? When this is the thing. I'm so glad that I went through a divorce. There's a reason for everything, but we have to learn for each other to forgive one another and try to cut all the old stuff and kill it. and start from new. And me and Muhammad, I decided to stay friends and forgive each other and move on.
Wow.
And even though I couldn't stand for his disrespect and ignorance and his infidelity, that I will not tolerate, and I don't have to tolerate it.
No, ma'am.
And so I decided to, hey, we're just friends. We went through life together. We have 4 children together, and we've built a brand, and we suffered and sacrificed a lot together as a family. This man did not go through this by himself. He had a partner. So I said, look, we're just going to be friends. So you just take all your old shit and keep it aside and just start new and forget about all that old stuff, because it's old, it's done, it's over. So it's time to just say, hey, this is a new page, and just think of all the good stuff.
Right.
And a lot of married couples should do this. A lot of times our partner don't want to go all the way up the ladder. Sometimes they get off and they just can't go all the way.
My husband.
So you have to just let it go.
My husband's a captain of a sailboat, but he also is a painter. He's up and down the ladder, and he goes, "Do you know how many steps I did today?" I'm kidding, but no, I get it, Mama Ali. You know, I want to ask.
That's kind of cute. I'm gonna use that one.
Let me ask you, what are your children doing now? And are you still in touch with them? I know you were talking, Joe, that you remember hearing that one of your daughters, was she into politics at one time, or something, or what
a movement?
I don't have any daughter that's in any politics. I do have a daughter that is a social worker, and she works a lot with the community.
Nice.
My twin daughters, one of my twin daughters had 2 boys, and both of those boys are in boxing. One of them is named Nico Ali Walsh. He always wanted to be like his grandfather. And he's a regular boxer. He's been very successful. He's with Top Rank.
Wow.
And my other Biagio, his older brother, is in MMA, and he's very successful in MMA.
I did not know that.
The boxing work,
nice.
Yeah, they're big and they're huge. Just look up Nico Ali on YouTube. You'll see them all over the place.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Congratulations. Cool. Anything else, Joe, that you have a question on?
I can't think of it.
If you do, I know Matt, my engineer's back there. I told him that you're going to be on, and I think he's watching a game up there. Matt, do you have a question for Mama Ali? No, he's good. He's watching something up there. So I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the names for your children?
They're normal Muslim names that I've heard all my life in high school and school. You know, it's just that when you're in the Muslim community, you hear these beautiful names all the time. And I remember Ali making a speech about people's names and how the names mean so much. And he would always say, you should have pretty names like Rashida and Jamila. And he'd always say those 2 names together. I don't know where they come from. But my sister is named Rashida, so I can understand that. My sister's name was Rashida. So then when they came, I didn't expect to have 2 when they came. It was a surprise to me. So I just went and gave them Rashida and Jamila.
That's beautiful. Now,
and my oldest daughter's named Miriam. And, of course, we named my son after his own father.
I love it.
I did remarry. I had my last husband, and he passed away of cancer. And we had 2 beautiful daughters, Muslim, and we had 2 beautiful daughters, Kalila and Amina. I named one after me and one after my mom.
Oh, beautiful. So let me ask you, what was the heart-filled love words that, or something that you'll never forget that Muhammad ever said to you that stuck with you? Like my husband has these little nicknames for me, Honey Bear. Is there something that you remember that always will sit in your heart forever?
Yeah. The only fact that is, I did ask him one time. I asked him a question, and he said, "I said I want you to be honest with me." And this was during my divorce. and I said, you know, everybody wants to be like you. And I just curious, who would you want to be like?
Wow.
I just want to know, who would you like to be like? And I'm sure he was going to say Elijah Muhammad or Malcolm X or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting that. But lo and behold, he said, you know, to be really honest with you, if I was half as good as you, that's who I would want to be.
Wow,
nice.
That's deep.
Now, that surprised me. That was so deep. He said, I'm very honest about that, because everything that you brought to me, you've inspired me to carry it through. And I want to thank you for it, because you made me a vibrant and bright, lively person more than I would have been, because I wrote poems for him, and there are things I asked him to do that would be better for him in public, and he did it. And he said, because of me, it's because he is famous as he is today.
That's
and
amazing.
That is something that I said, oh, that's so sweet. And then I said to him, I'm glad you listened to me, and we were a team, because I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have met all these famous people that you have gravitated toward your circles. So I'm glad to have met a lot of unknown famous people that I never thought I'd ever meet.
Well, I remember I was just telling Joe, when you went down to the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival, I said, I can't make it. Would you fill in with the cameraman? And you said, no problem. And they're like, Dawn, did you send a celebrity to do interviews for your show? And I said, yes, I did.
Sure did. I sure did.
And she was amazing.
I sure did. I started interviewing people like Robert Salvato and just great famous people. That I just really enjoyed it.
That was fun.
And I just want to say, the book is not only explains Ali's indiscretions and everything, but most importantly, I want to keep the legacy that we worked so hard for alive on the positive tip, because him, along with me now, has been inspiring a lot of people.
Well, that was a question
good thing.
Somebody's asking me. The movie Muhammad Ali, or Ali, that was out on Netflix. They're asking, was that true to his life? And you have some input on that.
Yeah, that's a true story. It's very sad. My mother was raising my son at the time, so they never let me know what was going on in his life, so I didn't know what was going on. But when I found out he had problems and issues, I brought him down to Florida with me, and he's been on point ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I know we have a few minutes left. We're going to get you down here, or 5 minutes, my engineer, Matt, is telling me. We're going to get you down to the station pretty soon, and then take you out on the boat and do a show, as well as get you to sell books here, and people to autograph them for the people. And how much are the books?
Well, I can tell you, I'm supposed to be in Orlando around the Thanksgiving week, and if we can arrange, I can come through there on my way back. And we can see what date that is, and I can just stop in on my way back from Orlando.
That would be great.
So we'll just work on those dates.
That would be amazing. I know we would love to have you back at the station. I know you came over with Paul Murray that time, my dear friend. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on the air. And Mama Ali, so you're in Washington, D.C. right now?
Yeah, I'm in Washington. I had to leave this morning and come down here about something, some business with my charity, and I have to go back. But I tell you what, just discuss this, because because I'm getting ready to, they're signing contracts for me to go to Egypt and Dubai and some other places. I'm gonna be on the road. So I want to really come by there before I start getting on the road.
I want you to send me a picture of you on a camel.
You know what? I already have a picture of me on a camel from the last time I went to Cairo, Egypt. I already have that one.
I thought you did. I remember seeing something like that. I remember I was like,
yes,
that's
I did. Cool. Yeah. But I'm going to do it again. I want to do it again. That'll be great.
But one more thing. You have a podcast, too, that's out there. Is that right?
I'm getting ready to start up my podcast. It's going to call Mama Ali Speaks, and I'm going to shoot it on your show as soon as I let you know when the start airing.
You know what? That's what I was going to say is bring it on to Tan Talk Radio with your own hour show. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything for you, Don. You're the best.
Mama Ali, if it wasn't for Paul Murray, we would have never met. And you've been such a blessing in my life and always been there for me. And I want to thank you so, so much. And I miss you. And I know you're down in Fort Lauderdale. I just want to say thank you for taking your time out of your busy night to call in.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to get back to my guests before they beat me up.
I got you, Mama Ali. Thank you so much for calling in.
God bless you. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too. And
Good night.
wow, what a woman, power woman. She's traveling here, there, Egypt, and all over the world. And again, thank you, Mr. Paul Murray, for that introduction years ago. So we have 2 more minutes. Any last word that God has put in your heart to say to the world? Anything that comes to mind?
Just, you're going to be up and down. Just keep the faith.
Yeah.
And the closer you get to him, the more the devil's going to come at you. So
Right.
just be ready for that.
As my mother always said, she said, it's like bird doo-doo on a window. Don't let it affect you. Wipe it off. That was my mom's words. And, you know, and the thing is, you know, my mom told me before she passed away, she said, Dawn, I've learned all my lessons. I'm going home. And my father said the same thing. And I thought that's really powerful because there are lessons every day that you're learning. If it's road rage or whatever, that you have to get through that next stage because that's a lesson that God's trying to teach you.
Absolutely.
You know, and remember, give God all the glory and honor for it and watch things happen. And it is important to tithe. You know, when you're tithing, and watch things happen, get into a good church, you know, and like I said, I'm torn between 2 right now. And I love Beaming Hope. There's a lot of miracles happening over there with Pastor Joe. He's baptized my family. He's, you know, given the celebration of life for my son. He's just beaminghope.org church in Largo is just amazing over there. So if you're looking for a good church, and they do a lot of community outreach for the families and stuff like that too. Well, I will see you next week. I've got some amazing guests. I've got Leslie Graham coming up in the next couple of weeks. You want to learn how to write a book? Oh my gosh, I didn't know you could talk into like a tape recorder and then just give her the program. And she is truly amazing with another author coming on. We also have the Madeline Mommy Show. She's a friend of mine. She is going to come on and talk about her fashion shows and all the great stuff she's doing. And then we have a couple other people coming on board. And if you have a miracle story, Dawn Reese Miracle Stories at gmail.com. Send me an email. I'd love to have your story on the air. And all I can say is God bless everybody. Have a good night. Have a great week. And God bless you. Bye. See you
Bye.
next Thursday.